Hello, this is Delilah, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And so here we go. Tonight's video is called The Beauty of the Override. It's about the importance of faith. Have you ever been shopping and you chose something that you knew was on sale, and at the checkout there's a malfunction in the software or something, and they have the audacity to charge you the regular price instead of the sale price? So what happens next is they call the manager over, who pulls out that special key for the override. When the manager overrides, you get your item for the agreed on price. Let's recall the story of Abraham and Sarah. At one point, God promised, he promised them a lot of things. He promised Abraham riches, and he would have a name that was well known in the area and all over. But he also promised that they would have offspring, that they would produce a seed. But at one point, they were both getting old and nothing had happened. We also see that the problem was not with Abraham, it was with Sarah. And we know this because at one point, Sarah got desperate and tried to help God out. She had Abraham sleep with her maid, and they had a child. So obviously, Abe was good to go, okay? But she had some kind of special desperation going on. I don't know anything about that kind of desperation, because I would never ask my husband to sleep with somebody else. But physically speaking, what was Sarah's problem? She was at the end of her life, number one, okay, and not the beginning. She was an aging female, just number two, and she was barren, so number three. But Hebrews 11:11 says, through faith, Sarah received strength to conceive and was delivered of a child when she was past the age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Now, we want to take a look at two words in that scripture that are really important. She received strength, and then the other one is she judged him. She received strength. What happened with Sarah's body is she received strength to conceive. And the dictionary describes strength as the quality or state of being strong. It's a degree of potency, its capacity, and its ability. Now, how did she get that strength, that potency, and that capacity? Are you ready for this? She got it because she judged God. I know we talk in today's society a lot about, don't judge me, you don't have the right to judge me. And, that's how a lot of people, just don't want you to say anything about anything. However, we do judge things and people all of the time. Meaning, if you didn't judge, you would go out and marry the first person who was available. But you don't do that. You spend a great deal of time with that person. You get to know them. You get to know their likes and dislikes. You get to find out if they're compatible, what their habits are, how they handle finances, and a host of other things. And all of that is judging. Judge means to form an opinion about. It means she weighed the evidence of who God was based on the things he had done in the past in the life of both her and Abraham. She took a look back at all that she and Abraham had been through. And here's just a small list. There was a famine. I've never been in a famine before. I mean, can you imagine if your geographic area where you live didn't have the capacity to provide food for you? And what if there was no water? That is a dire situation. So I've never been in a famine, and it sounds serious to me. So they were in a famine, and then they had to travel to Egypt to get to a better place. Another incident. They met a king who thought Sarah was too beautiful for her own good. Abraham and Sarah, before they got there, they got together. They came up with a game plan, and they decided to lie and tell the king that Sarah was his sister instead of his wife. That was not for her protection, that was for Abraham's protection. But you know what? They came up with that plan together. Okay, at one point there was strife between Abraham and his nephew Lot. They had to separate. They had war with various kings, and God gave them victories. Lot, remember the Sodom and Gomorrah story? Abraham, in that incident, pitched his case to God like a lawyer in court, arguing God down or giving him rationale for why he should spare the city. And God was talking with him. He was listening to him the whole time. And then again, the Ishmael event, which we talked about just a moment ago. It seems like they had drama going on all the time. I don't know about you, but if you got drama going on all the time, we're not going to get along well. You are not going to be one of my best friends. But when she looked back at all of those messes and how God continued to support both her and Abraham, when they lied, when they messed up, when things were just falling apart, she had to make a new assessment that God had been, number one, faithful, number two, reliable, and number three, true to his word. When she realized that God was not some pool shark looking for his next victim, faith rose up on the inside of her. She realized who she was really dealing with. It took her out of the place of doubt, and doubt is the place she was comfortable being in, because at one point when the Spirit of the Lord visited Abraham's camp, Sarah laughed. She laughed at the prospect of her giving birth or carrying a child at that time. And God had to approach her and say, why did Sarah laugh? She was comfortable in that place of doubt. That was her comfort zone. But after she did an assessment and judged God based on how he had delivered them repeatedly, it catapulted her into a place of peace. Two things, peace and faith in God. Because when you get into faith, there's a peace that just kind of is on the inside of you. She just came to that epiphany, that revelation that, okay, he's been behind us all this time. Everything we went through, every dramatic thing that happened, he was there. Sarah brought her faith to the table. What are you bringing to the table? It's a rule that without faith, you cannot please God. So in spite of the fact that she was barren, in spite of the fact that her body was too old to produce, in spite of the fact that she was no spring chicken, Sarah was still able to get into faith. So don't ever think that any of these things should ever stop you from getting into faith. She got into faith. Her faith pleased God. When she brought her faith, God came to the register and did an override for Sarah. God overrode her barrenness. He overrode her aging body status. He overrode her inability to conceive a child. And that is the beauty of the override. So do whatever it takes to see God as he truly is. Get to the point where you have a firm, unshakable understanding that he is faithful, reliable, and true to his word. If he said it, he will do it. And what you cannot accomplish in your own strength, God will give you the override. And that is the beauty of the override. Remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel, please. And thank you, and I will see you next time.